TikTok has been taken over by the authoritarian brain rot that is socialism, not unlike the country where it originated from, and many influencers have made a name for themselves espousing this ideology. One of these is a TikToker called Rathbone, a man motivated by cocking for vicious dictators, being allergic to a hair razor, and whining about surplus value.
That's the neat part. You don't. Do what capitalists do. Steal. Steal. Steal from corporations. I know what you're thinking. That sounds crazy. Steal from corporations. That's your stuff. What, are you gonna let them take it from you? Take the shit that you need.
Now, if you're wondering why Mr Rathbone is calling for people to steal from companies, he claims in a tweet posting this video that corporations stole from the common people first through the concept of surplus value. And what is surplus value? Well, some guy, let's call him Karl Marx, proposed that when business owners hire workers to make their product, the profit, which is the difference between the selling price and the cost to make that product, is called surplus value. The business owner in the current capitalist system is legally entitled to this profit. Under this theoretical framework, if a worker makes a product that sells for $100, then that worker made $100 of value. But since the wages for the worker are $20 for that product, and the rest of the cost of $30, then that means the business is legally entitled to this $50 of profit from the product. But didn't the worker make the entire product, and hence should be entitled to that $50? From this point of view, it seems like the rich is unjustified to take that $50 of surplus value / profit, since they did nothing to develop the product, so are apparently stealing from the worker. Hence, it seems to make sense to steal from corporations, since they stole the surplus value of workers. But this is false. Is the worker really responsible for the $100 in value for the product? Let me illustrate another example. This time there are two businesses that make pies. One business uses pastry to make pies, while the other uses mud to make pies. Both businesses employ one worker each. And also for both businesses, the cost of each pie and the wages paid to the worker totals $50. And both workers put in the same amount of effort and labor into making the pies. The pastry pie for the business sells at $100, yielding a $50 profit. This theoretically means that the worker created $50 in value for the business. Hence $50 of surplus value. But the other business can only sell the mud pie at $20. Because, you know, they're mud pies. Who wants to buy a mud pie? In fact, no one would be able to sell a mud pie at any price unless they were lying. Regardless, because of this, the business are selling these mud pies at a $30 loss in this hypothetical scenario. But if the worker is completely responsible for business products, does that mean the worker with these mud pies created $30 of negative value? Is this loss attributable to the worker? Does this count as $30 of surplus loss? Both workers put in the same effort, so should theoretically produce the same labor value for a product. But that is clearly not the case, because what also contributes to the value of a product is the quality of the resource and the demand for that product. Things that the worker doesn't necessarily have control of. So we can see here that surplus value isn't always dependent on what the worker does. The business owner also contributes to the value of their products, as they source business opportunities so they have someone to sell to, find a market so that they know what to produce, and choose the right resources so that consumers are more likely to buy their product. But these are quite difficult to do since there is no guarantee that there are enough business opportunities that will keep the business afloat. That they may be wrong about the market and can choose the wrong resources for their product. The market economy is complex and unpredictable. This is evident by how 20% of businesses already fail within 1 year, and only 50% of businesses survive within 5 years. That 70% of small businesses have outstanding debt, and on average it takes 3 years for a business to finally turn a profit. The business owner isn't guaranteed a wage and will most likely need to go into debt to sustain the business. But the worker is guaranteed a wage or salary due to their legally binding contracts. and the worker may be paid through a mix of the business's cash flows and debt, especially if the business is failing. The profit, or surplus value as you call it, is compensation for the significantly higher risk that the business owner takes for the enterprise. And while the worker still faces risk, they are compensated by wage stability. Now, some might respond to my statistics of significant business failure and claim that the wage stability of a worker depends on the business's survival. So how would there be wage stability if half of businesses fail in 5 years? Simple. While startups contribute 90% of the growth in employment, companies that are 10 years or older made up 86% of workers in the private sector in the year ending March 2019. And after 10 years, the chances of business failure are dramatically much lower. So the livelihoods of workers are less likely at stake because most of them work at much older businesses that are less likely to go out of business. Most of these workers didn't necessarily sacrifice 10 years of wage stability while the business owner did. Now maybe you will say that the boss has more bargaining power than the worker, so can fire you at will, that the worker is disposable. Well, I doubt it. Why? Because it is pretty costly to fire an existing worker, since the average cost of losing an employee can be thousands of dollars. On average, it takes 6 to 9 months of salary to recruit an employee. Besides, when looking at that mud pie example again, it isn't the worker who's to blame for the mud pies making a loss, even though they made the pies, but the business owner's fault since it was their smart idea to make pies out of mud. The business owner made this mistake, so is responsible for the loss. But they are also responsible for successful business strategies and working out the right products to make. And this is why they are entitled to profit. Besides, in the mud pie example, the worker would still get paid while the business owner doesn't make a profit. So clearly, capitalists did not steal surplus value from the workers, and hence, it is unjustified to steal from businesses. If you're impressed with the quality of my arguments and my video so far, please give a like and comment what you think was my best point / evidence against the concept of surplus value. Also subscribe because I have similar content responding to socialists, TikToks, and surplus value, as well as defending capitalism and property rights.
You need that! How will I get away with it? You just walk out of the store.
And into handcuffs by an officer, or at least that isn't the case of the UK.
And they'll let you do it if you're white like me.
You serious?
Bring a bag and, just leave a zipper partly open, okay? And go around the store and just very calmly put things in the bag. And then when you're done, you just walk out of the store. And if somebody tries to say anything about your bag, you accuse them of eco-fascism. Because you're not a fascist, you're trying to save the planet. That's why you don't use plastic bags. That's why you use a reusable, sustainable bag. It works every time, works like a charm.
And this is obviously a joke, not unlike the arguments in this TikTok so far. But I am going to be a bit nitpicky and point out the definition of eco-fascism is the combination of political environmentalism and far-right politics. Basically, when a Nazi meets a stop-all protester, and instead of the Nazi running them over because the protesters are blocking them on the road, they instead fuse to become this weird degenerate hybrid who advocates for stopping immigration or even genocide of minorities, and believing this will save the environment of their native land. A true mistake of nature. They probably blame capitalism for hurting the environment like socialists, but also blame immigration for overpopulation / environmentalist concerns. One way of summarizing it is environmentalism through genocide. Then again, that might describe a few radical progressive environmentalists as well. Again, this is a minor nitpick for a joke he made in a very short and simplistic TikTok, but it does make me wonder how much research he actually does in his videos.
It's sort of like that horse that's tied to a wooden chair. If only the horse knew that the wooden chair was very light and the horse greatly outweighed the chair, it could just walk away. That's sort of like the security system within, a corporate grocery store, perhaps. that shall go unnamed. It looks like they're watching you, but in reality, they're not watching you, okay? You have to steal a lot of shit for them to actually give a shit, okay? Remember that even the stuff that you steal is already prefigured into their profit margins for that quarter. They already know you're gonna steal. They baked it into their plan. That's a fact. Now that's a fact.
It's a fact, everyone. It's a fact because I said so. Regardless, even if they do prefigure theft into their finances, 64% of small businesses said they would increase their prices in response to retail theft, according to a Forbes advisor survey. And shoplifting is actually significant since 75% of businesses reported losses ranging from $500 to $2,500 per month. With losses these large, I doubt businesses will just take it, and may increase prices significantly. They might even close down if theft is high enough.
You steal under $1,000 from a supermarket like Walmart, you face no consequences whatsoever, okay? At the very least, you can take $1,000 worth of goods and services, okay? And a cat, I wonder. Look, the point is, stop playing by the rules. They're designed to keep you down.
Even if you face no consequences, stealing is still wrong. If a person worked 5 hours and used the wages from those 5 hours to buy a phone, and you steal that person's phone, you have wasted that person's 5 hours of work. It might even be equivalent to enslaving a person for 5 hours, since you reap the rewards of their labor. A site called ToastTab used statistics from the Food Industry Association and showed that on average, supermarkets generated weekly sales of $623,188, as well as having a profit margin of 2.2% within the United States. The site used these figures to calculate the weekly profit, which is basically multiplying sales with the profit margin. And from this, they found that the average profit on a weekly basis for a supermarket was $13,710. Assuming the store operates 5 days a week from 9 AM to 5 PM, so 40 hours, that's 1 hour needed to make $342.75. So stealing $1,000 is wasting the 3 hours of labor of the average business and their workers. Keep in mind that $13,000 is not only used as income for the store owner, but also for future expansion of the business and other investment opportunities. Now, you could also say that we are only focusing on big supermarket stores like Walmart. Well, back at the end of 2022, the Walmart CEO Doug McMillon said that rising theft and soft punishment against it could lead Walmart to raise prices and even shut down stores. Walmart closed its last 2 stores in Portland, Oregon due to disappointing performance in March of 2023, with 6 store locations closed in the year prior and 3 others closing in the same month. Now, we don't know for sure if theft contributed to these closures, but considering the CEO's comments, and that quarterly profit for Walmart fell by 25% in May 2022, theft may have been a significant factor in some of these stores due to Walmart's recent struggling performance. The rules of private property rights and capitalism are not designed to keep you down. It is designed to protect your freedoms and the fruits of your labor, something that socialism disrupts by force. And if you think the fruits of my labor for this video paid off and you actually like it, please comment and give a like, as it really helps me in the YouTube algorithm, as well as subscribe for similar content in the future. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.